Welcome to Oshkosh's EAA. Enjoy the videos and subscribe.
Hello everybody at TomsAviation. I'm Jeff Whitesell. I'm the flight engineer on the Connie behind me. It's the only flying 749 in the world. Technically it's a C-121. Magnificent restoration, certainly the restoration of a decade. It took us 8 years and we're just delighted to be here in Oshkosh. Flight time from Los Angeles area was 6 hours and 15 minutes. We're going across the ground at about 250 knots most of the time. Smooth as silk. On board we have 4 R-3350s, 2,500 horsepower each, and what a thrill for me to be back in the saddle in the Lockheed Constellation where I was when I was 17 years old. I can tell you there's nothing quite like pushing up the throttles on 10,000 horsepower. It'll make all the hair on your arms stand up, and beautiful, wonderful sound. The airplane is got a lot of history. It was involved in the Berlin airlift, and after that it went to General MacArthur. It was his personal airplane for the Korean theater, and you'd think that was enough. When it was retired for that, it became a NASA airplane. It was a communications platform for the Apollo missions. So tremendous amount of history here, and I'm very proud to be involved with Lewis AirLegends. And you know, we have this buzzword about keep them flying. Well, we're going to keep this one going for a while. Thanks for your interest, everybody. Come to Oshkosh and see it. Tom has asked me for a little more information about being a flight engineer on the Connie. It's a big job. The pilots sit up front and all they have is throttles and manifold pressure and RPM. I have my own set of throttles in the back, and it's a bit like running a ship. The captain asks for takeoff power or METO power or climb power, and that's what I do. I set all the power settings. And really the only time I don't have control of the engines is on the landing when he says my throttles. That way he can control the throttles for the flare and the landing. The airplane carries 5,600 gallons of fuel, and in cruise we're burning about 430 gallons an hour. It's a fast airplane for the day. It was built in 1948 and routinely cruises at 260 knots. Back in the day when it was pressurized, they could go higher, and I've actually been in a Connie where we're doing 300 knots across the ground, which is some accomplishment for a piston engine airplane. A little more technical stuff. There's 18 cylinders on each engine. There's 36 spark plugs on each engine. So we have a total of 144 spark plugs. The airplane has an engine analyzer. I can see every one of those spark plugs and tell how the health of the engine and health of the cylinder, and even the health of the mixture in each cylinder on the analyzer. And again, for 1948, that was, you know, the technology of the day. Today it's hard to find all those parts because there's nobody around to work on them. But we'll keep her flying, and thanks to all the good enthusiasts like you. We'll keep it out on the air show circuit. We hope to see you soon. Tom has asked me a little bit about my career path. Well, a little bit like bowling with the guards up. It was, you know, bouncing off one bumper and the next. I was very lucky. I grew up at a little local airport that my dad built, and my first recollection of a Connie, I was out there mowing the lawn and kind of looked over my shoulder, and lo and behold, here's an Eastern Airlines Constellation buzzing the airport with passengers on board. I looked at them and waved, and they looked back, and I watched that Connie streak up into the sky. I saw the sun glinting off the wings and the props, and I thought, boy, that's the life for me. If I could ever do that, I'd really arrive. Well, it was interesting. I built my career. I was able to get a commercial and multi-instrument rating, and figured I'd just go to work for my dad there at the airport. He'd built the business up and had a lot of airplanes. Unfortunately, fate turned the corner and he lost control of that business, and I ended up becoming a flight instructor, which, if you want to have a career path that's rewarding and exciting and changing, that's the ticket. That's the best license I ever got. Everywhere I've gone, every career break I got, the fact that I was a flight instructor is what made the difference. I taught for Ohio State University, and then I later taught for Embry-Riddle, and I kept wanting to get back to the piston engine airplanes. My dad had DC-3s and C-46s and things like that when I was young. So I kept going down to Corrosion Corner in Miami and hanging around down there. And one day I got lucky and got on board to fly a DC-6. Got lucky and got on board to fly a DC-6 as a co-pilot. And then I trained, back in those days in Corrosion Corner in Miami, they put you in the co-pilot seat and trained you to become a flight engineer, which I did. And I got the flight engineer ticket and flew the DC-6s and later on DC-7s cargo in Miami. And once I had enough time, I got lucky and got on with Western Airlines, which is the best break I ever got. And there too, the reason I was able to get on there is because I had a flight instructor license. They wanted me to teach in the simulators and fly, which I was able to do for them. And Delta Airlines came along and bought Western, and the rest was history. I retired after 40 years at Delta Airlines in 2019, and true to form, found myself back involved with the old radial engines again. I took a DC-3 across the Atlantic, and that was a tremendous thrill. And I got back in touch with my good friend Steve Hinton at Planes of Fame, and Fighter Rebuilders are the folks that did the restoration on this airplane. And we were talking one day, and he said, "Hey, you know, we need a flight engineer for this airplane." And I said, "Well, yeah, I've got the license, but it's been 40 years since I've been in one." And he said, "Brush up, we're going." Here I am. There you go.
Great. Hi, my name is Steve Hinton. I'm standing in front of the Lockheed Constellation C-121 called Bataan. It was built in 1948 and flew 12,800 hours as a military airplane and with NASA. And we recently have restored the airplane back to flyable condition, an 8-year restoration. This is our first air show we've attended here at Oshkosh. Really proud of it. You're talking thousands and thousands of man hours to get it to this level. From the AirLegends Foundation, this airplane will be displayed around the country for the next several years. So I hope you're enjoying it.
What's your favorite part of the Connie?
You ask what the favorite part of the Constellation is? Well, it's a whole overall project. You know, it's involved hundreds of people through the years, and it's just very rewarding to be able to say that we've got it flying. And here it is at Oshkosh, and the foundation put an X on the calendar and said, let's go to Oshkosh with it, and that's where we've been working for.
There you go, there you go. What is your most memorable flight with the Connie?
Well, my most memorable flight in the Connie was actually just coming here landing. Yeah, you know, we've only flown it maybe about 21 hours now, something like that. So every flight is memorable.
Sure.
But, you know, achieving what we went out to accomplish, you know, was touching down here at on the runway 18 here at, sorry, runway 36 at Oshkosh was very exciting.
And then what is the runway length that it needs?
Well, it's pretty light. We're flying at 40 and 50,000 pounds lighter than gross weight. It gets in the air in 1,500 feet. You could land it in and out of 2,500 feet without any trouble when it's light like this. You're using the brakes a lot, but I mean it's it's not a high-speed airplane. Yeah, it cruises about 275, 280 miles an hour and burns about 400 gallons an hour of gas, you know, total, all the engines.
Right.
But it's a beautiful airplane.
And what is the width of the propellant?
It's 15-foot, 2-inch diameter.
There you go.
Each engine is 2,500 horsepower. They're right cycling R3350 engines.
Sure. And is she finally done?
Oh no, it's not done. No, the interior is yet to be done. Yeah, it's probably another, well, going about 6 months from now, we'll go in for an interior. Thanks for watching.
Don't try, you're disappearing. No, I won't stand for that. One chance is all you get before you get the axe. Try your disappearing trick. I won't put up with it. I know you think you're quick, but quicker. Don't forget, I know your weakness. Don't be so facetious. I'll leave you here in pieces. I know you know I can. You overlook my strength. Don't make me get my fangs out. I know you thought I stayed out. Don't try, you're disappearing. No, I won't stand for that. One chance is all you get before you get the axe. Try your disappearing trick. I won't put up with it. I know you think you're quick, but quicker. Quicker. Don't forget, I know your weakness. Don't be so facetious. I'll leave you here in pieces. I know you
Certified feature of the PC-6 quarter. That'll be the most really big air brake out front and enable him to make a super steep approach with a very high degree of control. This kind of approach is first. We're going to put something else into the sky. And this is almost the basic one. A couple of days ago. That was fun to see, Rob.
Absolutely, and now for something completely different. We want to welcome the Gravity Industries and their jet suit.
Variable horsepower is usually lowest horsepower with